Sometimes you want to jump into things with both feet. Hello, my name is Michael Glenn. In this episode of the Dojo Show, we're studying the kata Kaisoku. And you don't want to jump in with both feet in this kata. You want to advance with your lead foot and disarm the swordsman. So remember, this is like a chino kata. So in chino kata, you know, there's this kind of sanshin strike. So when you're doing this cut with the sword, you want to have that same sort of feeling. Okay, Robert, watch the camera there. So this sanshin feeling that we do with chino kata, I want to do the same thing with the sword. So as he cuts here, I'm pulling back, and you see that rising feeling there. Okay. So I evade here, right? I've pulled my sword out, and then it comes up with sanshin, right? If I do the other side, I'm stepping out, I draw, and then it rises up, okay? You can do that without another step or with a step. So if I go really far, I can step here, yeah? Does that make sense? So now when you do suino kata, you want to have also use that sanshin feeling. So when we normally do suino kata, right, we're coming through with this shuto. So as Michael cuts here, I'm pulling this around and down. Let's go to the other side. So I evade here, and this comes down. This would be just like my shuto in suino kata. Okay. If I do the other side. Okay, so it's coming down at a kesagiri style angle. Okay, some of you have done this before with me, so try it out and get suino kata. Okay, thank you.
For the cut, the first one that we did, is it also getting kote on the other side? Because I noticed I usually go before, but is it supposed to go to kote?
Well, kote is anything from here to here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is all kote.
Okay, I thought it was just a wrist.
No. But in English, a lot of times people will translate it as wrist, but it's really elbow down. It's considered kote. So next is Kanocata. He's going to be again in Daijodan. Yeah. So, okay. Remember, this is ei. All of these exercises are ei, so they're quick draws, right? There's a little trick to doing this, but as Jesse cuts here, I'm slicing across the middle. So this slice across the middle is mimicking your ura shuto that you would do in Kanocata. Okay. One trick to this, I normally would like reach across and draw, right? I'm actually bringing my sword to my hand and drawing this way. Okay. Yeah, one of the reasons for that is I turn this, and when I bring it across my body, the edge is already on my opponent. Okay. I already have the edge on my opponent before it's even gotten out of the saya. So when it gets out of the saya, it's already there in the space. Okay, so he runs into it. Does that make sense? It's a trick for ei, where you bring it out like that. There's a few different variations on the other side. I'll show one. So in this one, you're cutting there. Okay. Another one you can do is with this hand. Okay, that's a left-handed draw. All right, so there's more than one variation on the other side there. Okay, try it out, please. I evade here and thrust. Okay, Funo Kata, if you remember, has this thrusting action to it. Okay, so when we're doing it with the sword, it's going to turn into a thrust. So I'm here, thrust. Okay, this would drive through, right? If I do the other side, it changes on the other side. Okay, now let's turn around the other way. Let's go back just a bit. Thank you. So on this side, you see I've drawn it out like this, right? And then I would thrust. So there's a flip that happens in that draw. You pull the saya back, and then with your body, you flip it. Okay? You guys understand? Funo Kata? Yeah. Which, both sides or just one? Either. So on this side, thrusting here. Scary, huh? Other side. All right. Try it out, please. Hey guys, look at this draw that I was doing on the left side, okay? So it's just here, right? It's quick. So this is an EI. So the idea is I want to get the tip on my opponent as soon as possible, okay? So to do that, I pull the saya back here, and then as it comes out, my body sinks and the sword flips, okay? So that all happens in motion, right? So it's very quick. And I've got the tip on the guy already. And I may thrust in at that point, or if he's too threatening to me, I may just knock his sword aside or something, right? So it's not automatic that you would thrust in. The idea is just to get the tip on the guy fast. So it's here, okay? So try to get that with your legs. For Kanocata, you guys see how I struck his hand there? Okay. So it's a reverse grip for your draw. So as Jesse cuts here, and then this can stab or cut. I could use it to cut. I could use it to thrust. All right. Okay. And it's pretty much the same thing on the other side. So the other side you're attacking, and then you've got this blade on him to cut, right? I'm doing it softly, but you're hitting with the back of the blade to kote, and that's going to hurt a lot.
So you're not turning the blade over, fully cutting it
No,
down.
no, it's ku. So you remember in Kanocata, there's this eye distraction followed by a kick. So this is kind of taking the place of that eye distraction, right? So you may not even hit him with it. It's possible as he cuts here that you just threaten, right? So his attention has been caught by this. So then you can press in and do something else, right? It's Kanocata. So, all right, try it, please. And then here you can attack his hands and slice. Yeah, there's a lot of options at that point. Scary, huh?
Oh yeah.
If you imagine, yeah, if you imagine this as a razor, you know.
Oh, I would.
That's terrifying.
I mean, yeah.
This is kata is called Kaisoku, and like all the kata and gyoku from this level, it starts from this Hanbo no kamai. So Jesse's gonna draw his sword and be in daijodan and cut down at me. So I kick. Now he goes to grab his shoto. I strike Kasumi here. Okay, that's the kata. I'm starting in Hanbo here. When I evade, I don't want to evade too far, right? This is basic Muto Dori, so you just evade a very small distance. So really, you're just shifting into this knee, okay? So you see I didn't even step there. Just shift, okay? And then here, I kick. And I want to kick in such a way that it causes that release, okay? So then he goes for this draw, and I'm checking here. Shuto. Okay, this, you want to control this elbow. That's when you go for the throw, you're hooking that elbow. When he reaches for that, I check his elbow and I strike Kasumi here. Now this leg is gonna sweep this leg. Okay. All right. This is called Kaisoku. Kaisoku, the words mean like the leading leg, right? So my leading leg is attacking. I don't have to evade very far, right? Then I kick this, check there. This left elbow is what I'm trying to control, okay? So when I go for the sweep, I keep control over this elbow, all right? You can knock that free, kick, take zanshin. There's a couple details we should discuss here. This kick can happen in different ways, first of all. So I come here, you could stomp kick, okay? If his arms were low enough or you wanted to knock him away from you, it could be a stomp, okay? Once more. I'm not doing the stomp version because I think you have more chance to knock the sword free by kicking up into the hand, okay? So in my version, I do that. Yeah, you feel how that works?
Yeah.
So it hurts, and it also, because the weight of the sword, it jars the hands and makes him maybe want to release. He may not let go. You know, you may miss, or he maybe doesn't feel it. Maybe he's feeling no pain for some reason. So you have to be ready for that in case it doesn't work, right? So I do this kick, and he reaches for that. This checks the elbow, okay? And I'm striking the Kasumi here. But I haven't tried to grab his sword or anything. It's still stuck in his sheath, okay? Now this leg is going to do an osotogari, and at the same time I pick up this elbow, okay? So see how I've picked up that elbow? That helps me to control him from drawing the sword. Checking Kasumi elbow here. Okay. Technically in the kata you control the elbow with the left hand. That time I did a variation with the right. Okay. So it might not let go, right? That's okay. Then you can do your osotogari here. Okay. I evade. So if he stays there for a second, I want to talk about this kick. There's different ways to do it. Sometimes you can kick it away from you. Like if his hands are a little lower, you might kick it away from you like that, right? But usually I prefer the kicking up method. And you want to kick to the wrist here because that causes the sword to go like that. Okay? So you kick up this way and that makes the sword want to flip out of the hand. Okay? Since you guys are going to be doing this for a while tonight, don't do that really hard. And that means that if you're the guy with the sword, when they kick you, you might just let go. Otherwise, they have to kick you harder, right? And that gets pretty old after a while. So you might pretend a little bit with that and just let go. Okay? Try a few more. See this check? Okay. Now I'm going to control this elbow. I keep my body close to it and I pull it with this hand at the same time that I do that sweep. Okay. You guys understand this? There's different controls you can do on the elbow. That's just one, but there's others that we can look at tonight. But it's important to control it with the hand, but also with your body spacing. Because by crowding it in there, it's hard for him to draw. His arm is crowded and he can't pull it out. Okay, so I evade, I do this kick, he goes for the short sword, okay? After this shuto and I'm going for the sweep to the leg, I want to control this elbow, right? For the basic. But if you pull it out, you pull the sword right into you. Okay, so that's a little dangerous. So when you're controlling that elbow, there's some specific ways to do it. Let's do that again. Maybe this way, so we can see that shoto. So I kick there, he goes for that shoto, okay? So when I control this elbow, when I'm sweeping, I'm pushing it towards the body here, Okay, and you see how that keeps the shoto in the belt there, in the saya. So what I like to do also is after my shuto, I like to pick up the suka myself here. Okay, I prefer to have this kind of control over it, so as he's falling, it won't surprise me. So shuto, see how I've controlled this? Okay, he can even fall across it. But if you control the suka there, it can do some good things for you. So here, right, see how I can control this suka? Okay, stay on it, right? Because you don't want him cutting you with it. So picking up this suka here, okay. His hand slipped off, so I just went with the hand. You guys got the idea? So you can slip, after the strike the kasumi, slip down to the suka of the short sword to help you control it. And you can leave it in the belt while you move him around, or you can lift it out of the belt, okay? It gives you some things to play with. And it's kind of natural because he's reaching to try to draw it anyway, so as he's doing that, you can just guide it. Try a few. Sometimes Hatsumi Sensei does this kata in this kamae. Okay, so it's taking the same kamae, Hanobonetsu, and then you separate it here. He calls this Hanobonetsu no Juji no kamae. Okay, so it's like doing Jumonji, but with the Hanobonetsu symbol here. Okay, I don't know if that matters very much, but Soke does it that way, and it looks cool. So you guys can try it. So he reaches for this, and I've checked this arm to keep that from coming out of the sheath. Okay, now when you go for your sweep, as Robert pointed out, this can naturally happen, right? Because of gravity. So he may be in the process of pulling it, and it will naturally come out as he falls. So you want to have some control over his arm or the weapon itself when that happens, okay? One more time. Checking this, okay? The reason Jesse made a noise there is because I locked up the finger that was holding the sword, and it's quite painful. Okay, but you see that time his sword got out of the sheath, and so I controlled it. Okay, I let it get out on purpose just to show you guys that, but it may happen. Like the guy may be quick, you might not. Maybe you didn't even know he had the blade. Right, it could have been hidden. So when you advance in and you see him reaching, you don't know what he's reaching for, right? So you need to be prepared for whatever comes out. So you see how I've controlled this, and I've brought the blade back into him. Okay. So this hand is locked. I've got the blade under control here, right? You guys understand what I mean? There are times where you'll just be late and it'll get out, so you have to be ready to do those kind of things, right? Keep it from flying back into your own body. So sometimes you're late on this part and he's already got this out. In this case, you don't want to stay right here, okay? You want to move with the cut, okay? So he's pulling this out to cut, and you want to use that motion to continue, okay? So if I'm late on this, I want to keep moving with it, okay? It's important for me to keep moving with it, and I stay shielded behind his arm. If you're just a little bit later, so it's already coming out here, right? I need to move around on this. You guys understand? So there's, you know, if it gets out of the belt, things change, because this is a real threat. He can slice very quickly with it. He can thrust, but it's very dangerous. So you need to be ready for that. So I'm late for some reason. You see how I can shield this just with my body, okay? So see if I'm late here, I don't want to stay here, right? I want to instead move here. Okay, I need to move into that beyond his suba. This is for all mutodori. You want to move to this suba or beyond. You don't want to stay out here, right? So I do my kick here, right? He goes to reach for that blade, right? So this time I'm gonna press the suka here into his hip, okay? And then I can sweep the leg this way. So in here you cover and you move to reach through here, okay? You see where I've got Sean's arm and the sword? So then as he falls down here, he's under control. It kind of locks up his arm too, yep. So he goes to grab that, right? I'm gonna bring it back into his body here. So here, let this hand slip through, and then you're gonna take the suka here, press it back into the hip. You see that strike that Sean got across the face there too? Right. So I've got his hand controlled and the leg partially controlled here. So I'm in here, right? I press this back into his body. See how I keep that control over the blade? Yeah. So the blade's trapped now with my weight and with his arm. So as I strike here, I'm gonna take this hand and move it underneath. Okay, so I move it to here. And I'm gonna press the suka back into his hip. Okay, then I can step around the front and bring him down this way. You see how I've still controlled this? So here, right? This I bring it back into his body. This hand just slips through here. I'm pressing it into his hip. Okay. That's a tough fall for him, yeah. So this, back into the body here. So I've got the wrist and I can feel his sword is stuck in there, right? And then I sweep this leg. The whole time I'm controlling the sword here. So that's here, right? He's pretty controlled here, and I've got the weapon, right? Yeah. I've got the arm, the leg. He's pretty stuck. So here, see how this? You can see the suka here, right? So here I check this, right? And then I reach under here and I press this into koi, right? And then I step in front. So, yeah.
That's the one I couldn't roll on.
Yeah, if he can't roll, that's okay. You just bring him down like this. That's the face plant you were talking about. Yeah. This right here,
So you're pushing that in behind you. Okay.
so I'm attacking the leg here.
Oh, I was going up. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this time I'm not unarmed, okay? So that makes things a little better for me. So there, by striking there, he wants to let go, right? Then he goes to grab for that. Here I'm trapping this. See how I've trapped his own arm? I'm striking up here, right? That makes him want to release. Then he goes to grab the short sword. Go to grab the short sword. I trap this here, okay? You see where that can go. Here I'm striking the arm where it's trapped. So I'm just starting like I have a cane here, and he decides he wants to cut down an old man. So I missed his hands on purpose, but you can imagine that makes him want to let go, right? So then he goes to grab this. I'm blocking it with my staff here, okay? And then I'm using the staff to attack him. You guys can't see, but I just hit his hand to keep him from using the sword. And that strikes up, okay? He goes to grab the sword. I'm trapping here. You guys can't see, but I've got the Hanbo locked on his body, okay? See how this is covering? You can bring it across his body this way, or you can pick it up and control the sword, and then so this is striking up into the hands, which makes him want to let go. Then he goes to grab the short sword. You're blocking it here, okay? You guys can see where I put the Hanbo? Okay, it's right there. So then I can bring it back across his body like this. I've locked up his shoulder. Okay. You right, man? So here he's just locked up from my body weight, but the Hanbo is across his neck. Okay, the Hanbo is across the neck there. When we were doing the normal kata, we're doing it with the foot. So he cuts, and I'm kicking up to make him release like that, right? So I want the same sort of feeling with this. Okay, so grab that again. We can't really do it too safely for real because it's going to be too painful when you hit his fingers. Yes. So when rubber cuts here, I sink and this rises up. Okay, I hit his suka, but you'd really be hitting the hands. Okay, so without him, it's just this this sinking and lifting. Okay, so it's your body really doing the strike. Okay, and you're hitting into. He's holding this, so you're hitting his knuckles on one hand or the other, but it makes him want to release because it's painful. Yeah, we can't really do it because it's too painful to do it for real. You'll actually break fingers. So don't do it for real, you guys. So that means the guy with the sword has to pretend a little bit. So he cuts again. So I'm doing it soft, and Robert's going to pretend that I really did it. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. Thank you, Robert. So that inspires him to let go. He draws. I block it here. Even if the sword gets out of the belt, that's okay, because I strike. Okay? So I've struck across his face there with the Hanbo. And then I can lock him up.
That's an interesting.
Yeah, and I'm blocking here. So if you just bring this back through, that's one lock you can do. You see how that traps the hand?
Yeah.
Yep. Another one you can do. Put that back in your belt. So I've blocked this here. Another one that can happen is you strike up here and then bring this back across. Okay. Now I've got you sandwiched here. Yeah. So there's a lot of options depending on how you weave the Hanbo around his arm. Or another one that's very common is you block this here and then you press this into koi. Okay. Just by pressing that tip into koi, it has that effect. I'm putting that there, okay? It's up against his wrist and the suka here, okay? Then you can use that to do various things. Okay? That's the idea, okay? Try that out. Just be careful if that gets out of his belt.
Yeah.
Then
It
becomes a hazard. Yeah.
Flipping around down here.
You might get, some accidental slicing.